Hello, Tea Crew, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tea Talk with Sha. Today, we're going to be talking about all the trending topics all over social media and the internet, and we're also going to be doing a deep dive into the new season of 90 Day Fiance. You're not going to want to miss this episode. Stay tuned. During these times, you may have stumbled on some free time, and it can honestly be mind-numbing sitting in the house day after day. Well, you can create your own podcast. It's amazing. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's completely free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. That's right, no purchase necessary, no equipment necessary. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast without a minimum listenership. That's right, you don't have to have any minimums for the people that listen to your podcast and still make money, honey. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the Anchor app for free. Go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, T Crew, let's get right into it. So the first topic, Kim Kardashian has filed to be a legally single person, and she also passes her baby bar. So there's been a lot going on with the Kardashians, and as always, they're always all over social media and the internet. It's always something going on with the Kardashians. First, she was dating Pete Davidson. Then Kylie's wrapped up into this Travis Scott situation because, that's her partner and children's father. She's pregnant with another one. So it's just like they're constantly in the news. And then last week we talked about Tristan and Khloe and him being an alleged father to another baby. But this week we're talking about Kim. So, as you know, Kim is working with the Innocence Project. She does work to get people that are falsely incarcerated out of prison, and she does a lot of legal work behind the scenes to achieve these type of things. And she's been trying to pass the quote-unquote baby bar for the last 2 years, and she's taken the exam 3 times. And she's passed it this time, so congrats to you, Kim. And she also filed to be legally single. So Kanye has been working overtime, and every time he speaks, every interview, he always makes sure to note that he wants to get his family back. In the concert that he recently just did with Drake, he got on stage and did like a remix to one of his songs where he talks about Kim, just run right back to me and all this stuff. And I think that it's smart for Kim to draw a line in the sand and just become legally single, because as many people know, divorce proceedings can go very long. They can get lengthy, especially when you have as much assets and things that they have going on, as well as 4 children with 4 different schedules to work out custody. So this could be a divorce that will be dragged out possibly for years until it's finalized. So Kim has just made the decision to be like, okay, the divorce proceedings are ongoing, but I want to be deemed legally single so I can just move on with my life. And I completely respect it. Kanye has a lot of stuff going on right now. He always has his mental health be a factor since he was diagnosed bipolar. So that's always going to be something that's going on in the background that he just has to deal with. And Kim is like, yeah, this week he wants to get back together. He wants his family. But what if he doesn't want that? Next week, I'm getting off this roller coaster for the sake of my mental health and my kids. And I just think that that's the best move. Let's focus on co-parenting and kind of save the dramatics. So that's what's going on there. Let's move on to the next topic. So Doja Cat called out Johnny Blaze. Lord, Doja Cat has been going live a lot recently. Doja Cat has always been a celebrity that goes live a lot. It's part of her brand. She does her makeup on live and just talks and interacts with her fans. She says it's one of her favorite things to do. She loves talking and interacting with her fans via live chats or whatever. I think she used to do like Twitch and streaming and all that stuff too. So Doja Cat basically was on live. Another artist, Johnny Blaze from the Love and Hip Hop franchises, started kind of spamming her comments to play her music. Now, Doja noticed these chats that kept coming up, and she just basically went in. She was like, Johnny, like, I'm on here trying to connect with my fans and get to know them a little better, people that listen to my music and support me, and you're just in here spamming the comments with your music, and it kind of makes me feel like you're begging to get acknowledged and you're trying to use me. And a lot of people took this as like, oh, here comes Doja Cat, like she's shading this girl. But it is annoying when you're on a live and you're trying to communicate with somebody, or you want your comment to be noticed and your favorite celebrity, and you're in their live and they're just like chatting it up with the people that are commenting, and somebody's spamming the comments just trying to get free promotion. It is quite annoying. And I think that she's only human to want to call it out, because that's not a comment from one of her fans or one of her supporters, or something that she's trying to see in the moment, and you're just pushing everything out. And then, of course, Johnny comes back and says, listen, I'm a newer artist. I'm still trying to break into this industry heavy, and anytime I can, I'm going to promote my music. Now, listen, I get it. We're a one-man band over here. I'm doing the show notes, I'm posting, I'm promoting, I'm posting on our social media pages, just trying to get the podcast out there. So I completely understand wanting to get your projects out there and wanting it to just somehow hit the right ears so you can get put on. I completely understand that. Literally do it every week. But there's a way in which you have to go about doing these type of things. And you also have to respect someone that's like, I'm not here for that. Sometimes you post your link somewhere, or you post a little thing about your podcast, and people are like, with all due respect, please don't inbox me your link. I listen, I'm a supporter, but it's just not my thing. And you really have to respect people for that, because everybody doesn't like to be approached in certain ways. And that's what I think she was just saying. I don't think it was too harsh. I think she was just saying, there's a time and a place to send your music and get your music played, and I'm just letting you know this is not that. Like, I'm here to talk to my fans, do my makeup, answer some of you guys' questions, interact with people, but I'm not here for promotion right now. I really don't want this live to be used for promotion. And I think that's her right. And it was crazy because a couple days later she ended up playing the Tierra Whack song, I think it was Millions, while she was doing her makeup, and everybody was like, oh, see, she doesn't hate women, da, da, da. I'm like, just because she doesn't want somebody promoting their music on her channel doesn't mean that she hates women. If she's getting ready and already listening to somebody's music and it's on in the background and that becomes promotion for that person, then that's one thing. But for you to just come in the comments over and over and keep asking, if she wanted to play it, she'd play it. If she doesn't, that's okay too. But you have to just respect what she's there for and what she's not there for in the moment. So, of course, Johnny stepped into the shade room and basically just explained her side of it and why she does it. And she posts her music everywhere. She's still trying to get out there, and that's why she does it. And, I guess it is what it is. I don't think Doja Cat was wrong for that. I really don't. She also revealed that people on her team had COVID and she had to drop out of Jingle Ball. So we're just hoping that she feels better. I think she also revealed that she had came down with COVID too. So now she'll be home for even longer. But like I always say, you have to get your rest. She's been talking about burnout recently. So you really have to get your rest, because if you don't, your body will just rest for you, and you'll just be in a situation where you don't have a choice but to rest, All right, let's get into the next topic. Mary Cosby apologizes for her Mexican thug comment that she made on last week's episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City were in Vail. This is right after the Jen Shah arrest. So, everybody's talking about, criminality, what's going on in this group, how could all this go on, and none of us know. Like, this is insane. So we're starting to really get into it. So then the women start to discuss what's going on with Mary Cosby. Now, months and months and months ago, I think it might have been in season 1, we discussed how some of the members of Mary Cosby's church were telling people, just expressing how they felt as though the church could be a cult. They say that Mary likens herself to God and that her parishioners believe that she is God. People have mortgaged their homes to give all the money to the church and just, things that don't really add up with going to a normal church. So they begin to kind of turn the focus onto Mary. Mary gets upset and starts making all type of derogatory comments. One of the comments was Mexican thug. And Lisa Barlow had a problem with this. Now, Lisa Barlow has a tequila company that she's super involved in, and she goes and tests the agave and all this stuff. So she's really influenced by the flavors and the textures and all the things that Mexico brings to her tequila. So she was actually really, really bothered, even more than some of the other girls, by what Mary said, and Mary did apologize. She also made comments about Heather's weight. I don't know if that was addressed, but I don't know. Mary's getting more time this season and people seem to like it. I really just don't care for her at all. Not to say that I would not want her to be on the show. The more of her that we get on the show, the less I care for her. You know what I mean? When she was in her closet making video calls, I was like, okay. But now that it's as soon as she gets put in the hot seat, we just start to see how nasty she really is. I mean, you can say something and apologize for it, and at least she acknowledged that she needed to apologize. But honestly, I just feel like you let these kind of things slip out of your mouth a little too often for me, Mary, especially for somebody who's claiming to be a pastor. Ma'am, can we pull together? Can we please pull together? All right, let's get into the next topic. Ooh, Lord, now this one had me lit up, y'all. Academics has a gun pulled on him, ? So Academics went on to the Fresh Fit podcast, which if you've never experienced this podcast, it is just latent misogyny, bro talk, just the cesspool of podcasts. I don't care. Come at me, bro. I don't like it. I just feel like the way they treat women on the podcast is disgusting. I don't like the messaging that they show on the podcast. It's just not for me. I don't know how people could listen to it. It's just altogether terrible. So he's on this podcast, and basically, it's like a cycle of different women that come on the podcast. Academics got into it with several of them, but one of them in particular really had a problem with, I guess, some of the back and forth that was going on. Now, this lady's name was Whitney Liud, I think it is pronounced, the last name. And she did admit that she had a gun in her purse. South Florida, in Florida, you're allowed to carry. So she did have a gun with her in her bag, but she says she never pulled it. Now, Academics allegedly said she pulled the gun on him. His security began to, jump up and separate him and, try to de-escalate the situation. But she says she just grabbed her bag. She never pulled the gun out of her bag, and she was just grabbing her bag to get up and go. And they saw that she had a gun in her bag, and they wanted to make it into something that it wasn't and try to blow it up. And the clip did go viral. And so that's what they were looking for, and that's what ended up happening. More than anything, I just think that this revealed that there really is content out there that has only been made to kind of trigger people. They bring these women into the situation to trigger them, get them upset. Then the women, obviously start to just kind of flip out, act irrational. Then they kick them out and they're like, well, this is why we can't have certain women here, because they just can't get their point across, without flipping out or whatever the case. But Armand Wiggins had a hot take on this topic, and he was just like, I never see academics give this kind of energy to men. He only gives this kind of energy to women that he's, so big and bad, and I would have put her down if she would have came at me, she knew better than to pull that gun and all this stuff. But literally, men get in his face and literally talk to him like a dog. And he just sits there and takes it like, I'm not part of that street life. I'm not part of that street life. So I don't know. It's just the fugazi for me. I just feel like real men don't have to behave in the way that they do on that podcast. It's really, really disgusting. I just can't say enough about how appalled I was by the content. Just appalled. Just disgusted. Like, I just don't. And just one more comment about the situation. After, the one woman, Whitney, was singled out and asked to leave the podcast or whatever, the other women literally did not have her back. They just stood there and basically said, well, if you can't take the heat, don't come in the kitchen. If you can't, argue your point without getting upset. And I was just like, don't y'all see what's going on around here? Like, if you were the one being kicked out, don't you think you would at least want the other women in the room to kind of have your back, especially in a misogynistic setting like this? No, not one of them. They all just kind of ganged up on her. Just gross. I can't. All right, let's go into the next topic. I feel like his fans will probably get into the comments. And you know what? Honestly, I don't care. I've never heard anything worse, and I'm dead ass. All right, let's get into the next topic. Guest hosts have been planned and disclosed to the public throughout January for the Wendy Williams show. So, we reported that Wendy might have possible dementia and that she may be confined to a wheelchair. Well, it looks like those reports were false, as Wendy was speaking to reporters and walking on her way out of a rehab facility that she was at. So she has been working on herself. She was in a health facility. She's getting better and stronger. But throughout the entire month of January, they do have guest hosting. I don't know if that means that they think that Wendy may be able to return to the purple chair by February, or if they're just going to cut the show off entirely and get Sherri Shepherd in there. It looks like Sherri Shepherd is the front runner to have her show, but it looks like what they're going to do is just cancel the Wendy Williams show and give Sherri her own show, which I feel like is appropriate. We're not going to continue the show under the name The Wendy Williams Show with a new host. Give Sherri her own show, cancel the Wendy show. Hopefully Wendy will be strong enough to come on and do a couple more episodes before the show is over completely. Maybe a couple tribute episodes and stuff like that, and then just go ahead and fill the time slot with the Sherri Shepherd show and keep it going like that. That's my thoughts. That's my plan. All right, and the last topic, the Tank Can We Talk challenge. So Tank had taken his social media and he basically said, all the R&B singers out there, if you're really an R&B singer that's about their business, okay, you can get onto your social media or your video apps or whatever and sing Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell, all a cappella. So he goes and does an example of what he's looking for in the challenge, and many R&B greats have stepped up to be a part of the challenge. Wanye, of Boyz II Men, and Avery Wilson. Bobby V threw his hat in the ring. Slim Thug tried to do a little something, although I don't know what that was hitting on. And Anthony Anderson stepped in for the actors. He tried to do a little something. And I listened to it. It did not sound bad. It sounded pretty good. But overall, I just think it's such a cute challenge. I just love to see Black excellence. I love to see black men just having a good time, goofing off and joining challenges and doing things that are more lighthearted. So I was like, let's just end on that. Let's just end on a little positivity there. And these have been our trending topics for the week. Stay tuned for our sports report. Okay, T Crew, it's my favorite part of the podcast. It's time for the deep dive, and we're talking about one of my favorite topics of all time, 90 Day Fiance. The new season started yesterday, and I figured we could just go through and talk about the couples they introduced us to last night, and maybe I'll do like a mid-season part two. We'll talk about the couples that we didn't really meet yet. But let's get into this foolishness. Y'all know I just live for the foolishness, the silliness, the altogether what is happening. That is 90 Day Fiance. So let's get started. The first couple, Geno and Jasmine. Now, Geno is a middle-aged white man from Michigan, and he is dating but not engaged yet to Jasmine. Um, and Jasmine's like a beautiful, like Latin woman. Although I think the lip injections went a little too far, but that's just me. Geno has no job currently, but he's sending money out to Jasmine for her lip fillers, her hair, her makeup, her outfits. And, his family is genuinely concerned. Like, Geno unfortunately lost his father recently, so his uncle has stepped up into that father role. And he's just telling them, like, listen, Geno, like, you got to be smart about this. You've been unemployed for a while now. This pandemic isn't going anywhere, and you can't just keep continuing to send your savings to Jasmine. In addition to sending Jasmine money, Jasmine is also tracking him, tracking his phone, and he has to check in with her whenever he leaves his home. This kind of behavior really was like, wow. So he's giving you money that he really doesn't have. You're tracking his every movement, and she feels as though, something is going on with Geno every second of the day, that she needs to get screenshots from his phone about where he is, where he's driving to, what's going on with him, if he doesn't answer her right away, and all types of crazy stuff like that. And my first thought is like, has she caught him cheating? Are we going to find out later in the season that he's cheated on her in some way? Now, Geno also disclosed in the first episode that he's been married to somebody outside of the country before, and they were married for 7 years. So this is not his first international marriage. And so you got to wonder with that too, is he just looking for a type? What happened with the last one? Why are you still doing the same thing if it didn't work out last time? So these two, and also Geno just gives me like the creepiest vibes. Oh my God. If you watch the episode, just the way he like laughs and won't take his hat off, something is going on there. It's definitely giving like a Paul, Karina, like I don't know. I don't want to put that out there just yet because it's so early in the season, but I'm telling you, something's not right, you guys. Like, something is really, really not right with old Geno over there. So we're going to keep you guys up to date on what's going on. Now, he's going to Panama to be with Jasmine, and he also wants to propose on this trip. And his family is really devastated about it. They don't want him to rush into this, and they think that he is rushing into it. So, I mean, I don't know. It could go either way, but I just think that Jasmine will never be happy with him because she's just really into being controlling and controlling the entire situation. I see he's either going to run out of money, or she's going to see something on his phone that she doesn't like. Apparently his ex-wife is still in the mix. It's just, there's a lot going on there. So that's definitely going to be a couple to watch. The next couple, oh Lord, Kim and Usman. And if the name Usman sounds familiar, it's because that's Usman Soldier Boy. He was just in before the 90 days with another lady named Lisa. And now he's basically doing a rinse and repeat with a new middle-aged white woman named Kim. So let's get into it. Kim is a lady from San Diego. She's I think she's also middle-aged. She loves her some Michael Jackson, her little Michael Jackson tattoo, and she's a caregiver for her elderly mom who has arthritis, which I thought was really sweet to see her taking care of her mom and, just being a caretaker. And honestly, Kim does seem like a nice person. I think she kind of just got lost in the shuffle. And of course, when somebody says you can be in a reality show and, you like fame and music and things like that, she was like, oh, I can be in a reality show and be with Usman? Like, this gonna be fire. So basically the text messages between her and Usman, he has not really even considered her to be his girlfriend yet. He's calling her his potential girlfriend. The two are going to meet in Tanzania, where Soulja Boy is shooting a music video about, get this, another woman. Like I said, it's a rinse and repeat of Baby Girl Lisa, but let's face it, they were ratings gold before Lisa started getting racist. So they're going to rinse and repeat, do the same thing again, bring Soulja Boy back with somebody who was just like Lisa, and we're going to get the same things over and over. You can tell he's not physically attracted to her. He's physically attracted to the other women that he's around. He's trying to sell Kim on this multiple wives scenario because, Kim is older. She has a 25-year-old son. She's not looking to have any more children. And of course, Usman is like, well, I want another wife so I can have children. Kim thinks that this is fair, but honestly, he wants another wife because having another wife will give him everything that he wants, and Kim can just continue to work and send them money. So that's how that's gonna go. If Kim thinks that he's getting another wife just to literally turn around and be like, oh, I would love both of you and we'll have kids and be a multi-family and all this stuff. Girl, that's not going to happen. You're going to be the ATM while the other wife is going to get all his love and affection and have his kids, and you're just going to be sitting around somewhere. Lord, why they do this to themselves, I will never know. Her friends confronted her about it, and Kim just stood there dumbfounded. I'm like, girl, you're going in a couple weeks. You haven't thought about this? It's the denial for me. Let's go. Let's go to the next couple. So the next couple, Caleb and Elena, seem pretty cool. Elena has kind of an impairment. She's a little person, and she also has some issues with her muscle development. So it's like hard for her to walk for long periods of time. So she has a wheelchair, but she can drive. She's extremely independent. She's mobile, and she's in love with Caleb. Now, she's been talking to Caleb from Arizona for about 13 years, and it just got romantic a couple years ago. Before that, they were just friends. And she wants to meet up with him in Turkey. Everybody's going to Turkey because of COVID. They can't get in anywhere else. So Soulja Boy and Kim are going to Tanzania because they can't go to Nigeria. So they found a way to kind of work around the COVID restrictions. So Lena and Caleb are going to be meeting in Turkey and staying in Turkey. And Alina's actually going to be traveling with her best friend because of some of her impairments, and her family just feels more comfortable with her traveling with somebody that she knows just in case, things don't go well. And of course, Caleb is like, hey, this is like our trip to be alone and like be around each other, get to know each other. I don't want a third wheel there, but I guess it is what it is because a third wheel is a coming. And he has to deal with that. And I just think it's crazy how they tried to hide her like physical appearance. I was like, you know what, TLC, we're not about to do this with y'all. We're not about to do this with y'all. And the first thing Caleb says when he sees her is, you're smaller than I thought. Took me out. I'm like, Caleb, don't be like that. That is very rude when you know somebody's insecure about something, especially something physically, and that's the first thing that you say when you see them. I don't know. I think that Caleb will be a stand-up man unlike Usman, and just tell Elena straight up that he's not physically attracted to her. And it might just be a couple that we don't see that often on the show. I don't know. Although Elena seems really interesting. Caleb thinks he could be an alien. So there's interesting things about them, and their personalities, but I can just see them not getting that much camera time for whatever reason. I just feel like they're just not going to show a lot of it. I don't know. I just don't see them being that hot couple. They're going to Soldier Boy and Kim us to death, I'm sure. But I don't know if we'll see that much of Caleb and Elena. And the last couple that we met last night, Memphis and Hamza. So Memphis is a 34-year-old with 2 kids from previous relationships. She's kind of like a free spirit, but she's been through a lot, and she can kind of acknowledge the fact that she needs a guy in her life all the time because of her abandonment issues. They kind of went into it between her mom and her mom had an addiction that didn't allow her to be a parent. So she has abandonment issues, and she has issues where she always kind of needs to be around somebody. And Hamza, he's from Tunisia, and he's cute and stuff, and I don't know, they don't speak the same language. Lord, he trying to follow up on what she's talking about. She's a nurse practitioner with a ton, with a good job and good money, and she's sending him money and stuff, and he's just soaking it up but doesn't speak English. And her mom is like, listen, I know that there was a lot that went on in your childhood, but you don't have to do this. You don't have to kind of go out of your way to be in these relationships that don't seem like they're gonna work. And in the season little premiere portion, they just basically show her with a new wig crying the whole time she's in Tunisia. And I'm like, girl, we could have told you that. We could have told you that. How many times do these like wild adventurous spirits fall in love with these traditional Middle Eastern men, and it never works out because they're just too wild and they cannot seem to like put a grasp on why they won't calm down, and the American can't seem to grasp what they're mad about. This happens literally every single time. It's like 90 Day Fiance is like the Christmas movie of reality shows. We know what's going to happen, but we still watch it every single season. And we love it. I'm excited for this season. It definitely seems like a dumpster fire that I will not be able to look away from, which is again one of the reasons why I just love it so much. I think I will do like a mid-season to see if some of my predictions came through. I mean, I don't know anything behind the scenes of this show. This is just my predictions, what I think will happen. So that might be fun to go back in the mid-season and be like, did Caleb and Elena get more airtime than I thought? Did Memphis and Hamza work out? Did something else break them up? Not just his beliefs? I don't know, because I'm only speculating. So I really look forward to kind of proving myself right or wrong in these cases. But this has been the deep dive. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for our outro comments. All right, T Crew, this is my least favorite part of the podcast where I have to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, listening, downloading, sharing, commenting on the episodes, and being just a great asset to our community. I really, really appreciate you. As always, we want to all right, T Crew, this is my least favorite part of the podcast where I have to say goodbye to you. As always, thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, engaging with our content and polls, and just everything that you do to continue to grow the Tea Talk with Shaw community. As always, arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. We won't stop until she gets the justice that she rightly deserves. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and I love you for listening. Bye!